Hello, everyone. Welcome in today. I hope everyone's having a great St. Patrick's Day. I'm here, of course, joined by my co-host Luke.
How's
Say
it going?
hello.
How's it going, everybody?
And today we will be covering season 3, episodes 18, 19, and 20. Am I right?
Yep, 18, 19,
Of
20 of
the
season
Clone
3.
Wars. And we will be covering the Citadel
Citadel.
arc.
Yep.
Okay, so you're just saying the things that I'm saying now.
Yep, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll be covering the Citadel arc. I know that a lot of you will be watching. That's maybe your favorite arc, and it's a big fan favorite. So sit back, grab a drink, grab a snack, and let's dive into this arc.
You never would have made it as Obi-Wan's Padawan, but you might make it as mine.
And we're back. All right, so we got a pretty good cast today of some returning and some new. So, Luke, it is my honor to bring in the first returning guest, Kir, aka Mandaklorian.
Hi, happy to be here. Hey,
How's
everyone.
it going?
Good. How are y'all doing?
Oh,
Good,
you
very
know,
good.
it's a great day to talk Star Wars.
I
Yeah,
completely
I feel like it's every day is a good day to talk Star Wars. But
agree.
a lot
Yeah,
of the
for sure.
stuff that we can talk about, we haven't talked about Kenobi together, so we'll dive into that a little bit
Looking forward to it.
a little bit later. But thanks again for coming on.
You bet.
Yeah, Kira, I'm curious. When was the last arc you were on? Because I kind of forgot. Because you were on a while ago.
Ooh, I was on a while ago.
I think you were. Weren't you on for Blue Shadow Virus?
Yes, I was gonna say that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was
Blue
out of
Shadow
town for that.
Virus.
Yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
Honored to be
Blue Shadow.
back.
yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah. It's good to have you. And then the second returning guest, Aidan, talks Star Wars topics, aka Aidan.
Hey
Hi.
everybody, how's it going?
How
going
goes
good. How about you?
your-
Good. I'm ready to talk Star Wars. That's why I'm here.
That's
Yeah,
why we're all here.
Dang straight you are. Dang straight.
Yeah, Aidan. So when
And-
was the last arc you were on?
One of the longest arcs in Clone Wars, that being the Geonosis arc, which is 5 episodes long. So
Oh,
not
wow.
since season 2.
It's been a while. Yeah.
Yep.
I thought you were also on for the Cut arc. Weren't you on for Cut?
I want to say Geonosis was my first one, but I'll have to go back and look.
Yeah.
I thought you were. I thought you've been on more recently.
I don't think so.
But what do I
Luke,
know?
maybe it's just an illusion in your head.
What do I know? All the days go
Alright,
together
what-
now. Ever since Kenobi, everything's just gone to hell.
Everything's a blur to you.
Yeah,
Of
exactly.
course. And then, so here are our returning guests, and we have a new guest, and it's kind of funny because she's not really new. She's been on some of the roundtables and the watch-alongs for the Book of Boba Fett, and we shout out a lot of her content on her page. She is the creator of Far Far Away Factory, and we introduced Brooke, aka B Dazzler.
Woo!
Hey,
Right.
hi, what's going on?
How are
What's
you?
up?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good,
Oh, we're
very
doing
good.
good. Since you are here, we're gonna let you plug your stuff for once.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
'cause
whenever
I feel
you're
like
ready.
we always do that, and then
We
now
always
you
do, but
have
now-
the stage.
Yeah, you have the stage.
That's fine. I always appreciate the plugs. Well, you can find Far Far Away Factory on Etsy, as well as my newly launched website, farfarawayfactory.com. I do jewelry and clothing and stickers and some other stuff in between. It started as mostly Star Wars products, but we have moved into Marvel and DC, and I'm sure other fandoms will be on the horizon as well. So go check it out.
Yeah, absolutely. She is doing some customization for me, actually. She's gonna do some her. Is it your first ever pair of Air Jordans that you're doing?
Technically, yes. I've done like other high tops though.
So she's gonna do something special for celebration so that I can wear. Cause
So you do shoes kind of like this.
yeah, that's exactly the shoe.
Yeah.
It's the all white Air Force or not Air. Are they Air Force Ones?
Air
they
Force
technically Air Force
ones,
Ones?
Jordan ones.
Oh yeah, okay, Jordan ones.
Same difference.
Yeah, but we are going. So I'm pretty sure everybody in this episode is actually going to Celebration.
That is true.
So this will be my second time ever going to Disney, but I haven't been to Disney California since when Tarzan was in theaters.
That was 1999.
Wow.
So over 23 years ago. So I'll be rocking my Vader Air Force Ones for sure when we go on that trip.
Nice.
But we will get into whole Celebration talk later. But we are here to talk about the Citadel. I think it's the most underrated arc throughout the entire Clone Wars because yes, it can be slow at times, but I think it's also the more like big picture. You see a lot of big picture things in other media get referenced in this arc as well. But Char, we ready to jump into it?
I am ready to go. Are you ready?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know it.
Let me pull up this one right quick. All right, let's do this. If this is the episode, not the. Sometimes it's a bit of a pain in the butt to find the episodes because I have to look up the Citadel and then it's like, oh, the Citadel, like the Tower Citadel. I'm like, no. Yeah, I want the episode. Okay, cool. We are here. All right. Plot summary for episode 18, The Citadel. Captured! Returning from a perilous assignment in the Outer Rim, Jedi Master Evan Peel's cruiser has fallen under attack and been boarded. Seeking vital information, he carries about secret hyperspace lanes called the Nexus Route. Separatist forces have taken him alive. Now the Jedi are preparing a stealth mission into the heart of Separatist space in an effort to rescue Master Peel from the deadly prison known as the Citadel.
All right. Good job, Char.
Look at me.
Everybody in the chat, give him a ranking. Be honest. That was a really good one. You're getting better every week.
I emphasize those spaces in between.
You do, and I really
fast.
And I really
when I said
appreciate
Citadel,
that.
it felt pretty powerful. But continue with the episode.
No, but so we pan to the Jedi meeting in the Jedi Temple about how they're going to rescue Jedi Master Evan Peel at the Citadel. So history behind the Citadel. It was once controlled by the Jedi. It's a prison that was made for Jedi that lost their way. So it kind of has like the vibe of like Vader's castle before Vader's castle a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And so here's a question to each of our panelists and anybody in the chat. Do you think you could break somebody out of the Citadel? High success rate, not success rate. What do we think?
I mean,
I've
watched Prison Break, so.
Oh my God, Prison Break is such a good show.
I would go in there with the blueprints tattooed on me, so we would know how to get out. I would have to get myself arrested. All right, to get into jail.
But here's the thing, Brooke. Who's going in with you? Who are you choosing?
I don't need anyone else. I will find a band of misfits in prison, and together we will break out. That is like the literal plot summary of season 1 of Prison Break.
Okay,
it's a good show.
Okay,
Prison Break. I haven't watched Prison Break in like 5 years. It's been a long time, and it's so good. It's so good.
Incredible. But yeah, I could do it.
There you go. Aidan?
For speaking realistically, me personally, by myself, I'm not breaking anyone out of the Citadel.
Unless breaking yourself out.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't even do that, because I'm just a normal guy, just trying to make his way in the galaxy. Not too special, But if I had the option, I would take Cad Bane with me because it seems like he's good at prison breaks and setting up prison rights and all that stuff from the season 4 arc later on in the Clone Wars. So
yeah, that is true. He does have Toto, and he's very useful, so that's a plus. Kir?
Oh, absolutely not. No, I know my strengths, and breaking into citadels is not one of them. No, I'm toast.
I
I'm in the
love
lava first thing.
I love how honest everybody here is. Like Brooke's like, oh yeah, I could do it. And then we have Aidan and Kir like, no, not even close. Nope, don't have that.
You
Wouldn't
just
even
gotta
try.
have the confidence.
This is very.
Have the confidence of a mediocre white man. All the time.
Oh God. The Cad Bane Stan herself V is here.
Hi, V.
Hi V. So just had to get that question out of there. So Anakin has a difficult conversation after the meeting. Ahsoka hears that they're going to the Citadel, and she is like, "Oh, I'm coming with you, right?" And he's like, "Sorry, you're not coming with. Like, you got to stay behind." Do we think that Anakin made this decision for himself because he didn't want her to get in the way, or was it to actually keep her safe?
I think it was just to keep her safe, because in reality, they all know what the Citadel's like, and even Anakin is somewhat afraid to go there by the tone of his voice when he's speaking to Ahsoka. So I think it was just looking out for her and making sure that she wasn't in danger.
Yeah, because he was all like, this isn't a mission for learning. This is a mission about doing or dying, and that's a burden I don't want to share.
Mm-hmm.
So he's very much being protective of Ahsoka in this instance.
And I think Ahsoka had the relationship between Anakin and Ahsoka hadn't really blossomed into what it becomes, where he would trust her. So I think there's a lot of, even in the episode where Tarkin calls her a child, in the first episode, like there's a lot of like, do I trust her yet? Is she really worthy? Is she really ready? So yeah, I think Anakin wasn't quite thinking she was ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's fair. Brooke, your thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like from earlier episodes, when Anakin is stepping over the line of like him being too attached himself. Like, I don't remember if it's season 1 or 2, but there's one where R2 goes missing.
Yes.
And like they have to leave without him, and he's like, I'm not leaving without. Like, that was a different energy than we got from this episode. So I do think it's mostly him trying to watch out for her. I do think it's interesting how she reacted, though, because this is still very early on in their like relationship and early on in her being like on the front lines and being a Padawan. So it's cool that as we see her progress into like a better Jedi and like learning along the way and whatnot.
No, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I feel like it's like one of the hardest conversations that Anakin and Ahsoka really have up until this point, because she is progressing, but he always has in the back of his mind, well, there's the accident that happened on Felucia where she got too headstrong and she tried to prove herself, and then it ended up almost costing thousands of lives and this and that. So he even admitted in the when she gets benched the first time that he sometimes forgets her age and he gives her a little bit too much leash. So maybe it's from that learning experience to where he's like, this seems like too extreme for her, and maybe underestimating Ahsoka a little bit in that standpoint. But I mean, she proves herself throughout this entire arc. So I mean, it works out in the end. So then from there, we get our first throwback or our first callback to the original trilogy, because the way that they are going to get through the Separatist blockade is they're going to use a stolen Separatist ship, just like the Rebels do with the Empire all the freaking time. And then R2 has repurposed B1 battle droids, which is the comedy of the entire episode, the entire arc.
Oh, there's parts where the droids and R2 are talking, and I just crack up.
Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
boss.
Yeah.
R2 in charge?
Yeah, R2. See, that's why R2 is my favorite droid, because he's very unpredictable. So they go through the carbon freezing that we see in Empire Strikes Back. So when humans or humanoids or aliens are carbonized, when you go through tracking or they scan the ship, it doesn't read up as a life form's actually in there. So it's very smart. But Char, or everybody, what were your thoughts on them using carbon freezing to hide themselves?
I thought it was very smart, like you just said, but I think it's kind of funny because in The Empire Strikes Back, with what Lando was telling Vader, it made it seem like using carbon freezing on humans was never a thing prior to that. So them going in and freezing themselves, it was like, wasn't it like a bit off the beaten path a little bit? But I mean, it's like, it doesn't really matter. That's just me being nitpicky as an Empire fan. But what were some of your guys' thoughts?
I remember watching it for the first time, and this isn't necessarily canon, but in my head, I was like, why are they in their like armor? You know, because like Han is in just like clothing, and I thought, oh, carbon freezing, like something would crack, or I don't know, like I
think it's because of how long Han was in there. Han was in there for a year. So
okay, that's a good point.
The sickness and like all it didn't really
exactly
him, and the hibernation sickness, and
Thanks, Char.
Mm-hmm. Hey, anytime.
I think the aspect of how uncertain of a planet is really screams Anakin, because he's the kind of guy who comes out of stuff from left field, like, oh, plan B didn't work, here's plan X, or something like that, or something that's totally like, that's insane. Why are we doing that? Mm-hmm. And another cool Easter egg that I like is right before he gets frozen, Fives is like, oh man, I don't want to end up someone's, trophy
wall decoration.
Or wall decoration, which is, of course, is another reference to Han Solo.
Even trilogy. Jabba himself calls Han Solo in Frozen in Carbonite his favorite decoration. And I'm like, that's a direct connection. I like that.
No, yeah. Brooke?
I think that like carbon freezing was never meant to be for life forms, so I think you're always taking a risk by doing it. And it does scream like an Anakin plan, like, how do we get in here? And it's like, well, we could risk our lives to get to be frozen. And because the only other time we see someone being frozen in carbonite is when they're a bounty. And the bounty hunter gets paid whether or not the bounty's brought in dead or alive. So I don't think they care usually.
No, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's why, like, I didn't think about the kind of like retcon of it at first, but I would just chalk it up to that. Or like the one on Bespin hadn't been tested on life forms versus this one. I don't know. It doesn't bother me that much.
No, yeah, that's true. And I just found it like interesting that they would do it that way. Because I mean, it does make sense if that's the only way they got to do it, and it very much is Anakin. Like Brooke just said, hey, let's just risk our lives in a war that we've been risking our lives in the entire time. What else is new? Nothing crazy here.
It's called Republic Ingenuity.
What's another suicide mission?
Yeah, seriously.
I've gone on 10 in the past week.
Char, go ahead and take the next couple.
Take the reins? Okay.
Yeah.
So right before they're about to or right when they get transported onto or through Lola Sayu onto the Citadel, when they get unfrozen, Ahsoka appears. And then Anakin and Obi-Wan, Anakin's like, I told you not to come. And then Ahsoka's like, well, I have orders. Oh, I was ordered to. And then he was like, by who? And she was like, I discussed it with Master Plo.
Mm-hmm.
And then Anakin is obviously a little frustrated. Then Ahsoka tells him, you know this, best master, following every order is not exactly the right thing to do. And Obi-Wan says the funny line, you're learning a lot from your master. Do as I say, not as I do. And then they were just like, okay, let's go with it. So, and I love how Obi-Wan was like the middle piece of the puzzle. So it was like, all right, yeah. Let's figure this out. And once that goes on, they climb this wall where the whole it was very reminiscent of the Minas Morgul scene from Lord of the Rings, where they had to climb the giant wall or the giant like structure to get to the top.
Yep, to the stairs of Kir Thungol. Yep.
Yeah, and they're trying to find the door to get inside, and right as Obi-Wan reaches the top, 2 super battle droids and a droideka comes out, and they're looking around, and Obi-Wan's telling them to stay quiet, and then they walk through, and then they ignite a ray shield, and then he alerts everyone that the door is locked, and they're like, we gotta find another way around, and then Ahsoka sees a little hatch, a little ventilation shaft, and Anakin's like, we can't get our forces through there, and Ahsoka's like, but I can. So obviously that proved useful to the group, that she was able to fit as everyone else wasn't able to. So if she wasn't there, they wouldn't have got through the door, and so forth, looking at it in hindsight. And then we get the introduction to so once they're climbing, Charger, the first clone to die at the Citadel, falls off, hits one of the mines on the wall. It explodes, and the whole plan is kind of compromised. And then we get introduced to Star Wars' version of Christopher Walken, aka O.C. Sobek.
Yes.
Yeah, obviously, if you can just hear the way he talks, it's very much like Christopher Walken. I told them not to, like, he's breathing really hard when he talks. It's like, I don't know, it's just super funny. And it just brings this question up. Because I mentioned Christopher Walken. What big name actor would you love to see in a Star Wars character? Doesn't matter like what movie. Like, if you were to pick a very popular actor or your favorite actor or actress,
as a voice actress or actress, or like,
well, more or less like as like a character like that.
Yeah.
Like in in Fallen Star, there's a character that is based on in his concept art as Matthew McConaughey. So it's kind of like having like the real life person, but it's it's a characterization of them.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'd say The Rock. But then again, I feel like Wrecker is The Rock pretty much, though.
Yeah, very similar vibes for sure.
Yeah, very similar vibes. Also, what were your guys' thoughts on Obi-Wan teasing Anakin instead of it being the other way around? Because it seems like Anakin does a lot of teasing of Obi-Wan throughout the entire Clone Wars.
I think Obi-Wan can give it back, like when he needs to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like after the briefing, Plo Koon says, "Oh, you're gonna have to explain this to Ahsoka," and then Obi-Wan gives that smirk to Anakin, and then when they finally get to Lola Seyu, to the Citadel, and like he makes the quip about, "Oh, do as I say, not as I do," he also gives that smile again. So he's definitely returning fire. He's getting his own shots in on Anakin during this arc, which is fun to see.
One, it's also like, I love it how he's just like, is it just me, or is it am I getting carbon sickness? I swear that's Ahsoka. And Anakin's like, no, your eyes are fine. I was just like, God. And it's so reminiscent of what she remembers in the novel Ahsoka when she's talking about the two figures. And it's obviously Anakin and Obi-Wan. There's a lot of times throughout the show that book, like, a lot of times can bring back that memory. So I would think that it would be this would be a moment, the Felucia bounty hunters arc, when they're trying to figure out where they're trying to go. That's another one that can be brought up. But like, I love that little moment that those three have as well. So the command droids. So they.
Oh yeah, Sobek's special unit of commando droids.
Yeah, those things are awesome.
They are cool. I love the painting on them because they're usually not
Yeah.
yellow. I just think that they're just super cool looking.
Yeah, it's weird because most battle droids aren't like specialized, unlike the clones where they have different color for different companies and stuff like that. So
and
that
those
was interesting
B1s
to
that he
see.
has are like they're the regular color, but they have the red stripings along them. And
Yeah.
it's like, wow, that is super cool. Because usually they're just like one has like a yellow head and that's it, like to give a sign that that's the one that's in charge. But it's like there's so much cool design aspects of the droids now. Like you got the ones with R2 that are blue, and it's cool. Yeah, go ahead, Aidan.
The only other instance I can think of the commando droids having a custom paint job is from the season 1 arc, where they basically have a black sun sigil during the hostage crisis episode, and then later on in season 4 when it's the basically diplomatic paint job when with that episode with Lux Bonteri.
Yes.
And whenever members of the Separatist Parliament are ever present in an episode, those special commando droids also show up with those custom paint jobs, which is cool. Because, like Char was saying, we mainly just see them in their base paint jobs unless they're some kind of specialization like a pilot or a commander or something like that. So it's cool to see that the droids are customized on the Citadel because it's like a specialized location. It's not like another general separatist outpost. Like this is a place where they can take Jedi and interrogate them and whatnot. So it's a very strategic and important place for the separatists to have.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, absolutely. Brooke, your thoughts on the commando droids?
I think they're cool because, like, I feel like up until this point, all of the droids kind of looked the same. Like, they were just, the droids are not that like humanized, I guess, that often in the Clone Wars. Which I guess is to show the stark difference between like using droids versus using clones, like real human beings.
Yes.
But to show that they have been creative with how they use them and what kind of droids they use was kind of cool.
Yeah, because in that hallway scene, I mean, the group comes across them and they handle themselves pretty well. And then all of a sudden, Christopher Walken like basically is just like, "Oh, I'm gonna mess with we're gonna do magnetize things." And then all of a sudden, you just see Anakin's arm, like you just see him fly up into and he's like, "Oh, wonder how he knew that." Oh wait, he's probably got a file on him. And then he shocks him, of course, and Obi-Wan and all of them are concerned. But then it's like Anakin just like, "Guys, I got this. This sucks, but I got this."
Almost every single part of the Citadel has some kind of trap, and it is absolutely terrifying.
No, yeah,
this place is so heavily guarded. It's insane. Like you can't go maybe 5 steps without either getting electrocuted or trying to get your head chopped off, or you're gonna get blasters, or you're gonna get. It's insane how heavily defensed this place is.
I mean it is to hold Jedi, so I mean it makes sense. It's absolutely
one of the more funnier things is, or I guess more morbid, is when the walls get electrified. The clone that says "Watch out, the walls are electrified" is the only one who ends up dying. And Cody's like, "Long shot, no."
Yeah, that's so true. I forgot about that. But yeah, I mean it just goes to show you how much the Separatists like needed that because I mean if they do capture Jedi, like that's the place that they're going to take them. And I mean it's known for that. The Jedi used it for that main reason, to keep Jedi in line. So it's very interesting to see, like, what if the Republic would have had it? How would they have used it differently? Would it still be used for Jedi that have been captured, or what are your thoughts on that? Like, what would it be if the roles were reversed? What would that Citadel be used for? Just another base?
Well, I mean, previously, before the Separatists had it, it was for what? Jedi who lost their way, right?
Yes.
Which is an interesting concept to think about in general. But, I mean, I'm of the camp that, like, the Separatists, I mean, conspiracy theory time, right? Did they really win it? Or did Palpatine give it to them because he knew how dangerous it could be? if the Jedi had it, or how good it could be if the Jedi didn't have it. So, like you were talking about, it's so heavily fortified. It's so, like, how did they actually lose this incredibly fortified base? I don't buy it. I think there was some backhand deals there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you have to wonder, like, did the Jedi have control of the Citadel during the High Republic? And after that time period, was that one of the outposts they abandoned to return to Coruscant and just like abandon the Outer Rim and the rest of the territories except for the inner core? Because hopefully during the time of the High Republic they wouldn't have much use for it, but
I wonder. I haven't read like the background of the Citadel, but I wonder, like, the stuff that we know from like KOTOR isn't canon, but I'm wondering if they pulled some of that to like create a reason why they needed the Citadel, because there were so many like dark side force users back then. And I guess as time progressed, maybe they decided like this isn't the right way to go about this. Because I kind of feel like having such a weird prison for Jedi doesn't seem very Jedi-like.
No, not at all.
So like the only thing I can think of going as far back as like the Old Republic, that would be the time, I guess, that maybe they think they would need that. And I'm gonna assume that it was like abandoned at some point.
No, and I feel like that makes sense because it's like if you look at the High Republic, right? Like all the Jedi are just like they're not like the prequel Jedi. Like they don't believe like if they've lost their way, they have therapists that they can talk to. They have other people that they can talk to out loud. Like there haven't been a whole lot of the lost. I think it's the Lost 20, isn't it?
The Lost 20.
Mm-hmm. The Lost 20. Mm-hmm. It at that point, it's like the Lost maybe like 5. Like there's not as many Jedi that have been lost in this time period. So I think we could see it again in canon. I think it's very likely we'll see the Citadel as like as what it used to be. And I feel like it's very skeptic. Like it's very like Brooke was saying, not Jedi like. I mean, look at the planet itself. It's literally a wasteland. Like the bottom half of the planet is gone. Mm-hmm. Like a big chunk of it's gone. And I'm like, this is questionable. Why would the Jedi use this? Like there's got to be some story behind it. And I'm sure we'll get it.
Yeah.
But
and then once that happens, once all of that happens when Anakin gets magnetized, he breaks the magnetizer, they all come down and they defeat the commando droids. And then they go and they rescue Jedi Master Evan Peel, who is about to lose his second eye because he is not willing to give away the half of the coordinates through the Nexus route to the interrogation droid. And right when he's about to do it, Anakin comes up. I believe it's Anakin comes up. Or does he get shot? I don't know. I don't know if he gets shot.
I can't remember.
But I know Anakin is the one that cuts down the...
he cuts down Even Peel.
No, he doesn't cut Even Peel. He cuts down the thing that's holding him up, very similar to what Obi-Wan was in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, the gravity.
Breaks him, rescues him, and then they find out that Evan Peel has half of the information about the Nexus route, and that it's with his commander. So with the help of Evan Peel, they go and they find where the others are, which they go and they find a couple of clones and they find Captain Tarkin, a very familiar character in the Star Wars franchise. So when they meet Tarkin, what were your guys' thoughts on Tarkin as a character? You can include him just in Clone Wars. You can include him in The New Hope. You can combine him, or even him from the Tarkin book. Like you can include a lot of different stuff into this. So.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. Even just them stumbling onto Tarkin and he wasn't in a cell, right? He was just out. Am I misremembering that?
He was in the cell.
Misremembering that. But, I mean, like, I guess I'm the conspiracy theorist this episode, but I'm just like, there's no way the Separatists captured him. Like, he was working for Palpatine. Like, he wanted to give the codes to Palpatine. Like, but I did really enjoy Tarkin and Anakin's dialogue, and it reminded me of, is it the Vader comic where Tarkin and Anakin go up against each other when he's Darth Vader?
Yes.
And they go to the planet.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Like that, like they're talking about respecting each other. Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
So it was like a preview of that, and I thought that was just smart.
Yeah, and there's many
intelligent.
instances in this arc where you get like a little bit of the Vader Tarkin dynamic.
Yes.
Oh
in this
yeah,
arc, and it's
even the
super
Vader
cool.
theme plays
Yeah.
at the end there. Like
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was interesting.
It's amazing. And then once that happens, the group decides that it's better to split up. So Obi-Wan splits up with Master Peel and a bunch of different bunch of different people, and then Tarkin, Anakin, and Ahsoka, and a bunch, and then does Rex go with them too? I'm pretty sure Rex.
Yes,
follows
yes,
Anakin.
yes.
Yeah,
Rock- yeah.
They
it's
all go
basically
together,
it's split up
and they-
like the 501st are a group, and then the 212th are
Yeah.
another group.
Yeah, so they split up, and Tarkin is obviously not a big supporter of this because he thinks that there's a strength in numbers.
Yep.
Mhm.
But it's kind of like that same situation with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan splitting up and attack on the Phantom Menace, so that they can have like a better chance to, find out what's going on and contact the Naboo. So it's like, they were thinking about this not much as like a battle standpoint, but much as like, better odds at surviving.
Yeah.
Um,
But
So-
real quick, Char, Aidan and Brooke, I want your guys' thoughts on Tarkin as a character as well.
I think he's underrated as a villain.
Thank you, Brooke. Oh my God, do I love Tarkin?
Like
Say-
it's kind of cool going back and rewatching. I feel like if you just have like a base knowledge of Star Wars, it's like, oh, Darth Vader's like the big bad, but then you look at the actual like hierarchical structure of the Empire, and he's like, Vader's like out here, like he doesn't really have his own command. He's just like under Palpatine, and then it's really like people like Tarkin that are pulling the strings within the Empire. And so like I wish we would have seen more of him in the original trilogy instead of killing off his character in the first movie. But I guess they also didn't know how successful the movie was going to be at the time. But I think it's cool that they're bringing him back. And this is like, I think the earliest in the timeline that we see Tarkin.
Yes,
I didn't read the Tarkin book, so I don't exactly know when that takes place, but
it jumps around from
Yeah,
time period to time
sometimes
period.
it's
Okay.
like a few years prior to the Phantom Menace, and then it.
okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
this is probably the earliest we've ever seen him. And it's his like conversations with Anakin in this episode are interesting because you can start to see where they have like similar ideals at the
Yes.
core, but
Mhm.
different ideas of how to like execute those.
Yes.
And like it's interesting to see as the timeline goes on and as Anakin becomes Vader, they start to like come to get more together. But I don't know. I think that's a cool like callback or call forward, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, Brooke, and like you said, about how you were a little bit upset about Tarkin dying in A New Hope. And that's the unfortunate thing too, because Peter Cushing, the actor who plays him in A New Hope,
he had passed
he
like
really
did
loved Star Wars. He loved it.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
thought
And
it was
he was
fun.
upset that he couldn't play it again because his character was killed off. And then it's like when people mention Tarkin in A New Hope and Vader, like in the prequel trilogy, Vader is seen as a whole different person, but Vader in A New Hope, he's just some dude in a suit, like following Tarkin. That's literally what it is.
And I
that's,
mean,
like,
even
the vibe that the differences between the two, but
yeah,
like Vader is like, even Leia even says this.
Mhm.
Oh, Governor Tarkin, I expected you to hold Vader's leash. Like
Yeah.
Vader's just a pawn at this point. Like he's just some dude, but he has a power, and Tarkin's that second in command under Palpatine, and
I do like where he pops up in the different canon novels.
Yes.
Like when he shows up in Lost Stars in the beginning, and like I can't remember, but like a lot of the people are like cheering for him and like they look up to him because he's been painted as this like figure that's going to help them. And then when he shows up, I like when he shows up in Leia, Princess of Alderaan.
Yes.
Because that's when you start to get the sense of like, oh, this guy is scary.
and he appears a lot too in the Thrawn trilogy.
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
just gonna say that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they're doing more with him. Just sucks that like they couldn't have done more with the actual actor.
No, yeah, absolutely. Aidan, your thoughts?
I just really love how consistent Tarkin is as a character throughout the entire time we see him. And what's really interesting in this episode, like he straight up says, "Oh, no matter what, I'm going to stand by my values," which means if I want to talk back to Obi-Wan about the plan about splitting up, I'm going to do that. And then Evan Peel has to put him in his place, be like, "Hey, you need to trust Obi-Wan." And then when Tarkin's like, "Oh, I only admire people who take action, and I don't, put too much weight in words." And Anakin's like, "Dude, we just came to this planet and rescued you. Like, how is that not taking action? Like, cool your jets there, buddy." But it's really interesting to see, like, how everyone was saying previously, this establishment of this relationship between Tarkin and Anakin, and how, those little seeds, like, "Oh, I kind of agree on maybe we're not approaching fighting the war the right way. Oh, the Chancellor? I'm in fact quite close with the Chancellor." And then, by the end of the arc, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll have to tell Chancellor Palpatine about how well you did on this mission, Master Skywalker, and I hope our paths cross again." So it's really cool to see the foundations of this relationship in this arc.
Yeah.
Even though, Tarkin's a terrible guy, but it's interesting to see this connective tissue that this arc provides for that relationship.
No, yeah. And then, even then, Tarkin then questions the Jedi's motives in the war to see if they can. He doesn't believe that they can win this war because they're holding back too much. And then Anakin's
he's like, peacekeepers shouldn't be in charge of the war effort.
Which, I mean, he's not wrong.
No, he's not. Yeah.
No, but then he goes on to say that like the Jedi Code holds us back from like doing what's necessary, and that's like maybe not the best idea.
Well, I mean, even throughout any of the prequel content that you get, Anakin is very much like, this is law. We are fighting to bring order and peace instead of bring balance and bring peace. He's very much that's where the connection of like Anakin, like he's always wanted order, but he's getting it the wrong way. Like that's when you know that he's not really a Jedi, like a truly a Jedi, because if he would say the words of like bring balance to the Force instead of bring order, then it would make more sense. I feel like that's just something that I usually notice because it's said a lot, especially in some newer books and stuff like that that he's involved with. But so then we pan out. What were your guys' thoughts on Tarkin's facial expressions towards Anakin's responses to him? It gave me and Char big, obviously Vader and Tarkin foreshadowing for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely admiration. Yeah, Tarkin's that type of person that he doesn't care if it's a negative response or a positive response. He'll just be like, he's got guts, and I like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was definitely him just admiring Anakin of being somewhat different than everyone else. And you hear this in the next episode too, that he even says that he's the only Jedi there that he actually trusts.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny how long that connection goes, because obviously us knowing the original trilogy, it's so weird seeing Tarkin just give this little snippets of what the Empire was going to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it was just admiration in my opinion.
Yep. Everybody else's thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Tarkin said what he said because he's so smart and he's always analyzing how people react to things. When he saw how Anakin reacted, he's like, "Oh, interesting. You're not like other Jedi I've met, and you could be a potential ally in the future. So let's just see how things play out," which I think is totally matches up with Tarkin's character.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Something that I thought was interesting is kind of a throwaway line, but when Tarkin was talking with Ahsoka, and Ahsoka was asking, why was the Citadel even here? Why do we have this? And Tarkin's like, "Oh, you underestimate it. You don't understand how powerful it is." but then he constantly refers to her as a child and like dismisses her. It was very like Tarkin respects this power, this incredible, but like doesn't see that Ahsoka was the one who saved the whole mission. You know, she's the one who ended up getting him. Like it was very emblematic of the Empire in general, because the Empire seeks power, structure, but you don't understand the Jedi, or at least like the spark of hope, you know, the spark of rebellion, like the people aspect, the Ahsoka aspect of like, she can figure it out. She's small enough. She listened to this. And like, I don't know. I found that there were a lot of lines where it was like, here's the Empire, here's Vader, here's like foreshadowing. And that one just felt also interesting, that Tarkin is smart, but he's also missing an aspect that will be crucial to the Empire's undoing in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And to kind of follow up on that, you know, this whole arc kind of gives a whole precedence as to how Tarkin sees Ahsoka, because of course, by the time it's season 5, their paths cross again. But at the end of this arc, they're kind of left off like, you know,
bad taste in my mouth for both of them.
Well, yeah, but I think at the end of this arc, Tarkin's like, "Oh, I guess you did a good job, Padawan Tano," or something like that, before the final episode ends. But you know, it just shows how terrible, or you know, just how set in his ways Tarkin is, because he'll completely forget that one of the people, like he'll believe that one of the people that went to the Citadel to break him out of prison and kind of save his life would be the same person that would be capable of going on to bomb the Jedi Temple and kill innocent people. So it's kind of like Tarkin believes what is necessary in order for him to progress his own career and whatnot. Like that's what is most important to him,
to make himself look good.
Right, and that's why, like, there's also an exchange between Anakin and Tarkin where he's like, I'm not so sure about you talking back to Master Peel. It might not be a good career move. And that's, of course, when Tarkin brings up the point, like, well, you know, I'm really good friends with the Chancellor. And that's how, you know, that little spark of their relationship is included in the arc.
Yep. Brooke?
I was going to say, I think this also shows Tarkin's, like, he's always kind of not distrusted and not liked the Jedi, because it goes, if you go all the way to A New Hope, he has that line about like Vader and his like ancient religion that he followers or whatever. So I think he's always kind of had that like predisposed
notion,
bias against the Jedi. So I like that they, from what we were given, the little screen time that Tarkin had in the original trilogy, how much we were able to pull, or how much they were able to pull and bring it into this other media, especially like this episode.
No, yeah, absolutely. Camilla's got a very good point here. Tarkin also equals terrifying. It is terrifying because there are people in real life that actually have his ideals and that have his have his mannerisms and have his way of thinking, we will say. I personally think Tarkin is a brilliant, underrated character, especially as a villain, because he uses his mind, especially in Tarkin. If you don't understand Tarkin, read the book. There's so much there in that book. It's crazy. You get a mention of this arc and the mention of the Jedi bombing arc in that book alone. But yeah, so that's how episode 1 of this arc ends. Char?
Hey, that's me. Anyway, I'm going to see this. I'm going to read the plot summary. You guys ready?
Yep.
All right, episode 19, Counterattack. Escape from Separatist prison. Carrying information about secret routes into the heart of the Republic and Separatist homeworlds, Jedi Master Evan Peel was captured and imprisoned in a fortress known as the Citadel. Leading an elite strike team, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker rescue Master Peel and his officers. Now the Jedi have split up to evade Separatist forces as they attempt to escape the Citadel.
See, I feel like that was a good one, Char. So we get into this episode and we pick up right where we left off. Anakin, the two groups are still split up. Anakin calls for R2 to come pick them up at the extraction point. Anakin tells Tarkin at one point, like, there's always another plan. Like Tarkin's like, well, what if this plan doesn't work? And he's like, don't worry, we've got this. We've got plans all around. And then we get a cut scene to Even Peel, and Obi-Wan. They're in the a ventilation shaft. And somehow I think one of the clones sets off like the security. No, probe droid. A probe droid is scouring through the ventilation shafts, and Even Peel ends up destroying it. But before he can destroy it, it sets off the alarm, and we get one of the most gruesome deaths.
Thank God it's it's a kid show, and that it wasn't shown but that was it was pretty gruesome. Like Luke said, that was pretty bad. So doors start closing. Obi-Wan's like, move or you'll get cut in half. And then we all drop down, and then the clone's struggling, and then
the fact that you hear him go and then just and
you
hear the slicing. I'm like, that's enough slicing.
One of my worst fears is like being cut in half by an elevator, because I watched it in a movie one time. Like, I was definitely too young to be watching whatever movie I was watching, and the elevator closes and cuts her in half, and that just reminded me of this, and I was like,
but you know what's even worse than that? Getting stuck on a railroad track.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I would.
That's true, but I feel like being stuck in an elevator is slightly more plausible, unless than being put on a railroad track.
Yeah, what is this, the Wild West?
It could be like a subway, New York City. I don't know.
I would rather go by an elevator than a train.
Well, I mean, either way, I don't know. The elevator would be tough. Everybody in the chat, would you rather die by train or by getting cut in half by an elevator? We got to know this now, since this is being talked about. That's
such a weird topic, but
I mean, it's so interesting, because it's Even Peel cuts a circle through one of the doors, and he looks over at Obi-Wan and he goes, "We lost one." And I feel like Obi-Wan just looks down at him and he goes, "We got a lot
of cutting to do."
Yeah, no shit. I heard the guy die. Thanks, Captain Obvious.
Yeah,
but don't say the word "cut" after that, please.
Oh God.
Yeah, I think a lot of the events that happen in this episode are perfectly encapsulated by the little quote at the beginning of the episode: if something can go wrong, it will go wrong. And this episode perfectly encapsulates that quote, because
it's the Citadel, of course.
Nothing is going to go perfect
there.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Nothing goes according to plan.
But I feel like this
that's what Tarkin understands very quickly.
Well, and I feel like this is perfect for Anakin though, because he flies by the seat of his pants. I
said before, Republic ingenuity. He will find a way to make something work, even if it has to get changed 10 times.
Whereas Obi-Wan's just oh, well, okay. So okay, all right. So how do the view conversation between, how do you guys view the conversation between Tarkin and Ahsoka, and how much does it foreshadow future events?
I already kind of touched on that. Sorry, I didn't mean to jump the gun there.
No, it's all good. Brooke, your thoughts? When they're talking and they're having different views, and Ahsoka's just blows him off because she's doesn't understand anything about Tarkin.
Yeah. I mean, also I think Ahsoka is still young and maybe a little naive. So her not being able to just grasp how someone can something that is appears to be really bad, it kind of shows that the difference between the way that the Jedi think and versus the way that the Republic might think, especially in terms of Tarkin, because he is, like we said earlier, he's all about order and bringing order, and if that is a giant prison that holds people, then that's good enough for him. Whereas Ahsoka has this more idealized version of like what it could look like or what discipline could look like.
No, yeah, I feel like that's fair. So like after that conversation, she talks to Anakin. He's like, "Well, I kind of see where he's coming from. Do I agree with him? Not really, but I can see where he's coming from." And Ahsoka's still kind of like taken back, even from when Anakin says it to her. She's very taken aback. So we go from that. So Ahsoka's told to scout out the location, and she screws up because she goes into a dead end. And Anakin kind of disciplines her and was like, "Well, if Master Plo would have told you, you would have known exactly like where we were supposed to go." And it's kind of this point where he's like, she didn't like. I think he catches on quite quickly that Master Plo wasn't a part of this, like the decision, but he's not like completely aware. But this is one of them. So they kind of obviously in Anakin form, they are able to get their way out of it. And Anakin ends up taking the rear to protect them while they get to the extraction point. So then back to Obi-Wan and Even Peel. R2 contacts Obi-Wan, and I love how the B1 like translates for R2, and he makes the joke of like, "Oh well, General Skywalker told us this," and then like Obi-Wan just like looks over his shoulder and then just like rolls his eyes.
Yeah,
because
the concept of R2D2 having authority over something is just hilarious. I don't know why. Just yes, sir.
No, yeah. And I just love how like Obi-Wan just like even Master Peel's like, "So what's the plan?" He's like, "I don't know. It's Anakin's probably got something. We'll just meet him there." Basically. So then we go. So then R2 transmits the 2-group plan to the Jedi Council. They're gonna have R2 land with his fake troops, because at this point, I believe Obi-Wan's group is captured by this point. Or maybe I'm jumping around. Aren't I? Char, go ahead and take charge here.
So I think it was right before they weren't captured yet. So right when they land, it was right before they get captured. So it was like as like they were about to go on the ship, but
yeah.
Yeah,
I think if I remember correctly, because like in the previous episode, like they're like, "Oh, that shuttle never showed up," and then when R2 and the droids land, K2B4, which is the purple and yellow tactical droid, is like, "Oh, you're a Republic spy or whatever," and has the battle droids, quote unquote, arrest R2 and, take him for interrogation. And then that's when Obi-Wan and Evan Peel are like, "Yeah, it doesn't look like R2's at the shuttle. So maybe the plan changed or something like that."
No, yeah, absolutely. And then Obi-Wan's group manages to get captured. Meanwhile, Anakin and Ahsoka run into the droid attackers, but manage to destroy them with the slow-moving detonator move that they end up teaching the Onderon rebels, which was interesting. A nice little foreshadowing to that. So, thoughts on the defenses and the ethics of the Citadel? Should it have even been built in the first place? That's a question. That
absolutely not. If this was supposed to be a Jedi holding place for quote unquote Jedi that have lost their way, like what Brooke said earlier, it doesn't seem like something that the Jedi would build to hold other Jedi. It's like, and also this much, like it's literally a Star Wars asylum.
Basically,
like I feel it's, and it was once belonged to the Jedi. Like I don't know if like the Separatists like enhanced it and like made a variation to it to make it more like inescapable. But like I don't think that this place should have ever been built.
Yeah.
But it is built, and yeah, it's a pain in the bottom for our characters to get out. So
No, yeah. Everybody else's thoughts?
I think it's dumb.
plain and simple.
It's
Short
very.
and simple.
It's just not Jedi-like. It just is weird to be a thing.
It is very unethical for
This is
the
very
Citadel
true.
to be manufactured and created.
Yeah. Aiden?
Yeah, I 100% agree. It just seems like something the Jedi would have never built, regardless of the time period the Order might have been in. So it's just a very
Hopefully we get more history about the Citadel.
and like to your point, Char, I think the Separatists did add some more stuff like traps and whatnot and all that kind of stuff to make it more of an unbreachable fortress, like all the mines on the cliffs and the traps and the probably all that kind of stuff. But I think hopefully it wasn't as intense as it was under the Separatists before. Sorry. Hopefully it wasn't as intense when the Jedi owned it as when the Separatists owned it,
Yeah, there's no way in hell the Jedi set up those electrified wall traps. No way. I highly doubt it. I will contest to that.
No, yeah. Kir, your thoughts?
No, I mean, I definitely think this sounds un-Jedi-like, but Char's comment about it being an asylum, and I keep thinking about like Jedi who lost their way is what Obi-Wan says, and that sounds like a really like elegant way to say like Jedi who went insane.
Yes.
I'm thinking like Jedi Arkham Asylum was where my mind was going.
No, yeah, absolutely.
But, no, I mean, because Jedi walk away from the Order, but does it mean like Jedi? I would love to know more about the Jedi who lost their way, who got there and how it got built.
I think you're definitely gonna see more of that in the High Republic, I believe. So back to Obi-Wan's captured team. Christopher Walken's character, I'm never gonna get that name, so that's why I'm gonna call him Christopher Walken. O.C. Sobek.
We're back to this now. I'm like the guy that will say the names for you because you don't know how to say them. So
You're absolutely
back
right.
at it.
So he tries to get the information out of Even Peel, and he ends up shooting a clone in cold blood in front of Obi-Wan.
Yeah, that was pretty hardcore.
Yeah,
that was intense.
That was very intense.
I don't think
he didn't even look at the clone too. Like he was just looking at Evan Peel. I'm like, wow, okay, cool.
I mean, so like the Separatists are ruthless. Like they have the capability to be ruthless, but it's like Palpatine held them back and was like, "You can't be too overpowered because we gotta even it out, because I'm gonna put my tin hat on and I already know what's gonna happen." He was playing both sides. He was really good at playing both sides, might I add.
He did not like getting stuff from Count Dooku.
Oh
no!
You'll learn more.
One thing I will say about the scene that kind of struck me as funny, it's basically James Arnold Taylor talking to himself.
Oh yeah.
It's like in my brain, I'm like, I wonder if James Arnold Taylor is just like sitting there, and D. Bradley Baker comes up to him and is like, "Oh, is this your first time, talking to yourself in a show?" and James Arnold Taylor's like, "Yeah, yours." Which like he would never say that, but G. Bradley Baker would be like, "No, not my first time."
He's probably talking to himself about maybe 100 times.
Oh, dude! Yeah. I mean, think about the Slick arc or Slick episode, the Traitor arc.
God!
Like that's literally him talking to himself the entire time. So it's not like
just him in the studio.
People were just like making a big deal about the Bad Batch, but it's like he's done this the entire series, so I'm not too worried about it.
D. Bradley Baker is of a different breed.
No, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought it was someone besides D. Bradley Baker talking to himself in the show.
That's true. R2's droids managed to infiltrate and trick the other B1s into letting Obi-Wan's group go. They managed to make it to the rendezvous point where Anakin and Ahsoka have gone through they've been pretty much hounded this entire time. They make it to a a gas tank,
Pipeline.
a pipeline, which is like, Anakin, what are you doing? Like, I feel like they took this from the deleted scene in Revenge of the Sith when Obi-Wan and Anakin go down the fuel shaft, to get away from the battle droids in the Revenge of the Sith movie. It felt very much like that. We have another great conversation between Tarkin and Anakin. What foreshadowing does that show, and how does it tie into the Tarkin book and the Bad Batch, you think? Like Tarkin as a character.
I pretty much, I think I touched on that one, so someone else can go.
Yeah, I feel like we've talked a lot about just the dynamic between Tarkin and Anakin. So it's like, it's a bit like as time goes on in the arc, like you see them building a little bit more trust in each other, and
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, a lot of Tarkin and Anakin questions, I'd say.
No, yeah, absolutely. So then we get the Anakin throws a charge in order to divert the forces away from them. It's interesting because it shows Tarkin's lack of faith in the Jedi, and Anakin just goes and does whatever he wants and shows off, and Tarkin's like, oh, okay, he's different than everybody else. There's also a parallel to Where Are You Taking the Prisoners in the Phantom Menace with the when Obi-Wan and
Qui-Gon.
And Qui-Gon show up in a Phantom Menace, and then it's shown here when R2 and the repurposed battle droids try to take over the shuttle.
Yeah.
I know it's in the previous scene where when the droids first get Obi-Wan in the group. Yes. But I love the subtle detail that there's a mouse droid leading the B1s around, which kind of implicates that the B1s are so dumb that they would get lost in the Citadel. Yep. So they have to have a chaperone just, okay, we're going this way,
No, yeah, absolutely. And then we get awesome banter.
Where are you taking them? To Coruscant.
Yeah. And then we have the banter between Obi-Wan and Anakin, which is always perfect. Like, which plan is this, Anakin? And it's just like, I don't know. Like, we're just gonna do this. And then we see more disagreements between Tarkin and Obi-Wan. It shows the quintessential differences between their ideologies of war and life. Here's an interesting question. Which clone, throughout the entire series of the Clone Wars, which clone death hits the hardest for you? And I'll start with Brooke.
That's a good question. I have to think about it. Come back to me.
Okay. Aidan.
Oh, God, there's so many of them. 99 is a big one. That got me. Waxer is a big one.
Yes.
Fives is a big one.
Yes.
Just all of them. All of them are just so heart-wrenching.
Yeah, I think watching this for the first time without knowing what happens in season 7 and then onwards, like Echo definitely hit hard because we watched the Domino Squad. We watched that whole arc before this. And then we watched most of the Domino Squad get killed later, or we saw that earlier, and then we saw the Domino Squad episodes like later. Because I don't know why the show's
chronologically is
but we've seen both of those things happen before this, and knowing that Echo and Fives are the only two left that were in the Domino Squad, and hearing like Fives like yell for Echo was hurt. It hurt my heart.
Yeah,
my poor heart. And then I have to think about that now, knowing that Echo's alive, I have to think about how Echo, like, when did Echo find out that what happened to Fives?
Oh,
like, did Rex have to tell him? Was it Rex?
I would have had to, I would imagine, yeah. Well, either Rex or Anakin, because they were there when he died.
I know.
They both were. So, Kir, you're which clone death hit you the hardest?
I mean, in Clone Wars, Echo for sure. Yeah, I was gonna say that, but I am emotionally attached to Gregor. But I think that's Rebels, so .
No, yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's relevant though. He's a clone
Okay.
and it's a death. So we'll
happened
count
to
it.
love him. Yeah.
We'll count it. I mean, in the way Echo dies is very much like warrior-esque. Like he died fighting. He died doing the right thing. And like it is very heart-wrenching because this is like what the second biggest death in the entire in the chronological order that we're connected to this character and they're now gone.
Yeah.
Like Aidan said, 99 is a big one. And I guess Heavy's a big one as well.
Well, yeah, and it makes it so much worse because all of these characters are connected, and in a way, they're carrying on each other's legacy. And when one of the other dominoes fall, not to make that joke, but it's right there.
Actually,
it just it kind of it makes that legacy of those characters go away, and people forget or they won't be remembered because the people that remember them and how great they were and how they sacrificed themselves are gone also. So it's just that another level of why are you doing this to me, Dave? Like
I
already have enough problems.
I will say though, I do think that this could have been a death that could have been prevented. Because I think this whole arc, these episodes are really like a matter of like there's themes around like trust and Tarkin not trusting the Jedi, but the Jedi also not trusting Tarkin, and Ahsoka not trusting Anakin that he's doing what's best for her, and Anakin not trusting Ahsoka that she can take care of herself. And I feel like that goes with that because you see them kind of arguing like, should we split up? Should we stay together? And, splitting up, we saw what happened between the groups. Like if they had stayed together, maybe they would have been able to, fend them off themselves.
Yep.
And then they wouldn't have been there as long. And then they could have, escaped without any more casualties. So sucks.
No, yeah, absolutely. And then Anakin states that the big problem is that that it has been man, that doesn't make sense. I definitely wrote that. I don't know what I was saying. States the biggest problem.
Okay, so that scene in the notes it was written really weird. But Obi-Wan says that we have a bit of a situation here, and then Anakin says, "In situation, I mean big explosion."
That's what I meant. That's what it was. Sorry.
And then they're requesting they contact Plo Koon. And they request for more troops, and the Republic fleet is sent out to Lola Sayu. So
because they're like the only way, like if something goes wrong, the only way we'll get you out of there, we'll have to send a whole fleet, which just shows how heavily fortified the Citadel is. Like, okay, if like something goes wrong, we have to send multiple cruisers, not just like multiple, which is just crazy.
And that is the end of episode 19. And Luke, this is the part where you say my name, and then you
Char, go ahead.
Plot summary. And
plot summary.
Okay. All right, ready. Episode 20, part 3 of the Citadel arc, aka Citadel Rescue. Loosen up a little bit. Trapped behind enemy lines. Carrying secret information vital to the Republic's war effort, Jedi Master Evan Peel and Captain Tarkin were taken prisoner by the Separatists. An elite strike team led by Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker landed on the planet Lola Sayu and infiltrated the prison. The team rescued Master Peel and Tarkin, but they were pursued by the prison's evil commander, O.C. Sobek. During the escape, their ship was destroyed. Now we find them on the run, desperate to escape the trap that is the Citadel.
Yep. And we saw towards the end of the episode they were going into like the rough terrain with like lava and stuff like that. So we start off where we left off there. The clones and the Jedi are being chased through rough terrain. Dooku calls to inform Walken how important the information is to the Separatists. And throughout this entire arc, he's been avoiding Dooku's calls, and Dooku kind of is
Mhm.
starting to pick that up. And he threatens, I think it wasn't in the second episode, he threatens the command droid that he'll turn him into spare parts if he doesn't tell him another message from Count Dooku was received again.
Yep.
So it's kind of interesting to see Walken be afraid of Dooku. Because I feel like everybody's like a yes man, but I feel like Walken's character is just like he finds himself like on even. He wants to think himself on even ground with Dooku, but that's definitely not the case.
I love how you just call him Walken's character.
Well, no, I just
You're not wrong.
That's how I.
He's not, but I mean,
but
if you want me to say OC Sobek, just point.
No. I'll just say Sobek.
That's what he did when I had to say Adigalia.
No, I can say Adigalia.
There
we go. I'm gonna say it here in a little bit. What were your guys' thought? What did you guys think of the loss of clone lives within the episodes? Was it all worth it?
We don't really touch base on this until later in the Clone Wars, but the loss of clone lives, it's not really a big deal, But like to other clones, it is. But we don't, as viewers, we don't really get to understand like clone individuality and clone importance until later into season 5, like to the very end, closing stages of the Clone Wars show. So and even when the clone army was made, that it's stressed enough that they are considered expendable, just like how the battle droids are. So it's like in the Republic's eyes, they see them as just warriors that die and they make more, but in our eyes, until later on the Clone Wars, they're much more human than everyone makes them out to be. Like if you watch Clone Wars, you have a genuine connection between some clones than other people do who haven't seen the Clone Wars. It's like a weird difference between the two when it comes to like why we love Captain Rex, why we love Commander Cody, why we love all of these different clone commanders, Bly, Wolf, and all of these other different clones. In contrast to someone who doesn't really care about the Clone Wars. But we don't really understand clone individuality importance until later on in the Clone Wars. So at this time, it's sad seeing how many clones perished, but throughout the middle of the show, we aren't informed how much of a connection the clones are with everyone else that's around them. So that's my thoughts.
Well, Dooku kind of weaponizes that sentiment in, if you've read Dark Disciple, he makes that like big speech at this gala thing, and he's like, well, we, the Separatists, we use droids, but the Republic, they use human lives. Like, how awful is that? And like, makes a lot of sense how the Separatists have been able to build such a following because of that propaganda, where like there is some truth to it. It's not like the Separatists are absolutely not innocent in how they treat other people in any way, but there is a little bit of truth that comes to like the ethical implications of a clone army. And are they really, do they have any actual autonomy? Like, what if there was like the whole the arc with Cut? Like, could a clone just say, I don't want to be a soldier anymore? No, they'd probably just be like, all right, well, we're going to take you back to Camino and fix you or whatever.
Control chips.
Yeah. So that is, it sucks. And I feel like until we do see, I mean, like Echo's death was hard, but like until we get to the Umbara arc, it's not really like particularly addressed. Like as a whole, like we see individual clones and it's sad, but until then, and then that's just like the audience seeing it. But like Char said, the rest of the galaxy and they're not really seeing the individuality of the clones.
And you definitely hit on that in a certain book that is coming out soon.
Pre-order Queen's Hope.
Yeah, pre-order Queen's Hope. It's fantastic. You won't regret it. It's a great book. Aidan?
Yeah, and I mean, what's also really hard to see is like, in this arc, we kind of get a little instance of how Fives reacts to Echo's death. Like at the end of the last episode, the closing shot is Fives at the back of the group, and he turns around and looks back to the Citadel, and then kind of realizing his brother's not there with him anymore, and then kind of going on, and then he brings up the point like, oh, like the Citadel it's like this terrain's almost you can't maneuver in this terrain and all that stuff, and you have to wonder, like, we know that Ahsoka and Anakin and Obi-Wan definitely care for every clone they've ever served with, but like when you have someone like Tarkin in the group, or I don't really know about Evan Peel and his thoughts on clones because we only get him in this arc, I think, but like we were all saying, it's really unfortunate that people don't consider the clones to be individuals when they are, and they're all their own individuals, just like how Yoda touches on it back in season 1. Like, they're all individuals, they're all different in the Force, and people should acknowledge that, but unfortunately the greater populace of the galaxy never did.
Yeah, Kir, your thoughts?
I mean, nothing more than you guys have touched on. The clones are treated like red shirts in Star Trek. You're not really supposed to think about it. They're expendable to the audience at this point. Yeah.
No, yeah. So to rescue to rescue Obi-Wan and Anakin, the Jedi have to send 3 Jedi Masters, Plo Koon, Adigalia, and Saesee Tiin.
Saesee Tiin, yes, very well, very good job.
They're still running. Ahsoka still is not a big fan of Tarkin at all. She talks to Anakin again. Anakin really deep down truly believes that Tarkin was not wrong in thinking that the Jedi shouldn't be generals.
Anakin's like, he's got a point.
Be generals to the clone army. Walken gets nervous. O.C. Sobek gets nervous that the Jedi might win.
Christopher Walken is not a canon Star Wars character.
Well, it doesn't matter. I'm going to keep saying it.
Also, can I say one thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Probably one of my favorite parts of the episode is the exchange between Sobek and Dooku. And Sobek's like, oh, I was hoping to surprise you with good news. And Dooku fires back and he's like, good news would be surprising considering the situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, he is definitely afraid of Dooku and disappointing him. So here's another question: putting yourself in Tarkin, Anakin, and Ahsoka's shoes, what do you think of the Citadel? And would you believe someone's perspective more than another? Or we can just go with the second one, because the second one, we've touched a lot on the Citadel. Would you, so like on, what I think I was trying to say was,
whose viewpoint do we agree with the most?
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly. Right on the money.
Would you believe someone's perspective more than another? So like, would it be right for Anakin to think more like Tarkin or Ahsoka or that whole dynamic?
I mean, I definitely agree more with Ahsoka's viewpoint. Like, why is the Citadel a thing? Like, it's very un-Jedi-like, so why would it exist in the first place? And how could someone admire something that's solely used for torture and, hurting innocents, or not just hurting people in general?
Yeah, because it really caught her attention when Tarkin was like, this could be a very useful Republic base. And Ahsoka's like, she just gives that look. And I'm like, how? There's what use would this place be other than like maybe like
torture?
I don't know. I feel like the Republic isn't very like the torturing type, especially like using a place like this. I don't even know who you would torture. I mean, maybe like a you can't really torture a droid, but I mean, I guess you kind of. But it's I don't know. I think Ahsoka, right with Aidan, is following the right path when it comes to the idea of Tarkin's thoughts on the Citadel. So,
yep. Brooke, Kir.
I think the beauty of Star Wars is that it's all in the gray, right? All of them have a good point at some point. Like, they're not all completely wrong, and they're not necessarily all completely right. Mm-hmm. So it's hard because you know these characters, you know what happens, so it's like hard to not be biased towards Ahsoka, but like Anakin has points. Tarkin even has points in his own twisted way. So all of them and none of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Depends on what you believe in.
Yeah. Brooke?
Yeah, I feel like the Clone Wars talks a lot about like the Jedi are supposed to be peacekeepers, but how do you only be a peacekeeper in a time of war without getting involved? Because if you don't get involved, you lose a lot of people because you're not helping. But what's the level of involvement that you need to go to? Does that mean, like, I feel like that's something obviously that Anakin struggles with a lot, because he's like, I want to do what's right, but I feel like his interpretation of the Jedi Code is obviously flawed to the point where he will like bend it to his will of sorts. So I don't, like Kir said, they all have their points. Yeah, they all have flawed or naive views. I would say, like in Ahsoka's case, like she is still has this like idealized view of the Jedi because she hasn't been through what we see her go through in the later seasons yet. So
yeah. So then we hear
Obi-Wan's
Obi-Wan's lines. Yeah. And Obi-Wan, of course, line from Anakin. Walken's character, I'm going to keep saying it, releases
say
OC.
At least say OC.
It releases the Anubas, which are a combination of wolf and lion kind of looking things.
Yeah, and it's
Those
also the
creepy
pet that Embo has.
Yeah, and the pet that Embo has. Question: how long do you think you would last before being taken down by one of those beasts?
5 seconds.
Probably like maybe 15, because I mean, I guess I'd say 15.
Brooke here, how long would you last against one of the Anubas?
I want to pet it.
Brooke, 0 seconds.
I would try to like Ezra Bridger my way out of it and probably get my hand bitten off. But...
Good Anuba.
And be like Anakin in the arena, just like mind trick it and then jump on the back of it and start riding it.
Can you imagine?
It took me so long watching Attack of the Clones to realize that that's what he was doing.
Yeah.
That he was like calming it down to the Force.
Yeah. No, that's a fun Brooke, honestly, that's like the perfect response, because like I could totally see you doing it. Just see the Anuba like coming at you and you're just like, come here, come on. I can change you, buddy. I can change you.
I can fix him.
I can fix him. Oh, Brooke, that's a perfect.
It's my brand.
Yeah, it is. So they split up. Anakin and Obi-Wan go ahead with the other clones, while Ahsoka and even Peel stay behind. Peel gets overrun by the Anubas, and that ends up woodily injuring him. Now, as even Peel is dying, he gives Ahsoka the other information for the Nexus route, right?
The Nexus route, yeah.
Nexus route. What do you think of Ahsoka being the one to carry the message? And what does that say about her and her role throughout this arc, even when she wasn't supposed to be in the mission in the first place?
Well, things don't go to plan, and more the merrier.
No, yeah, absolutely.
I think Ahsoka is for her to be the one that carries the information from Evan Peel. I think it's very I think it's appropriate, because I feel like Ahsoka, if it was like maybe season 1 and 2 Ahsoka, maybe not, but season 3 Ahsoka is a lot different. So I think that her holding that information is very much more appropriate.
Panel?
Yeah, it just really shows her growth, because like she's like, "Oh, I should go get Anakin or Obi-Wan," and Evan Peele's like, "No, like it has to be you because there's not enough time. Like if it's not you, then it's not going to be anyone else." And it kind of Ahsoka has that confidence in herself, like she was unsure, but once Evan Peele like encouraged her and was like, it has to be you, and this is the only way that the information is going to get back to the Jedi Council. She's like, okay, I can take this on because I'm ready to take on this burden, even though I would, it's not what she wanted to happen, but she's willing to do what is necessary in the moment, which really speaks to how much she's grown as a character since we first met her in the Clone Wars movie.
Yeah, and this is right after Mortis. Yes. I think chronologically it's also right after Mortis. So, I think it's kind of left ambiguous how much of that the three of them remember, but Ahsoka being like the embodiment of the light side, I think this is the first time we see her taking that on and doing what is like necessary and what's right.
That's a good point, Brooke. I never really have thought about it that way because she really is the embodiment of the light side because of her being absorbed, the sister's life force being absorbed back into her. So that is a good point. Really good point. Kir?
Yeah, I mean, I was saying something similar in the sense of like, I think the Force willed it, right? Like she was meant to be there for several reasons. And if she hadn't been there, they could have lost that code. They could have, a lot of things could have gone wrong. They wouldn't have even gotten in.
No, yeah, that's
so true. She was supposed to be there. She was supposed to get the code for sure.
No, yeah. So Ahsoka is carrying Even Peele's dead body. They to Anakin and Obi-Wan, and they're shocked. And they give him a burial by burning his body, which is very much reminiscent of like old times, medieval times when warriors would die. They would put them on some people would burn their bodies on like big piles of wood, or they would send them out on a lake and they would shoot fiery arrows. So it's pretty much just like being an honorable thing. But after that, the whole group regroups because they know that another attack force is coming. Plo Koon tells them to meet at these coordinates, which is like literally like another arena. Like it's literally there's nowhere to go. They're stuck in this island. Which, I mean, come on now. Like, why do we do this? But the whole team is able to pretty much get out unscathed, except for two clones that end up falling from a very high height earlier in the episode.
It's always got to be the clones. It's always got to be the clones.
And the R2's droids go out fighting. They're that's all for one and one for God.
Yeah, that's true too. So they reach the extraction point just to get ambushed by what's the guy's name?
Osi Sobek.
Osi Sobek, on one of the speeder bikes, but they're all able to take out like because at one point he picks up Tarkin and Ahsoka is the one who ends up killing him, correct? If I remember correctly.
Yep.
And I thought that was like a big thing for Ahsoka because it's like we've never really seen her take a life like that. And I feel like her, with Brooke saying that she's the embodiment of the light side, it's an interesting thing of like, yes, she was still like, it's kind of like the excuse that Anakin gives in the Mandalore arc when he kills Olmec. No, not Olmec. Who is that? The senator from Mandalore.
He was going to blow up the ship.
Yeah, he's going to blow up the ship. So it's like I feel like Ahsoka was able to like. It doesn't really matter. Like I had to save Tarkin's life, which I feel like Tarkin takes for granted a little bit, and also kind of holds it against her. Plo's bros show up, and I love the LAAT gunship.
Plo's bros 104.
Plo's bros show up. They end up escaping the system. When they get back to the Jedi Temple, Anakin asks Plo Koon if he approved of for Ahsoka to go on the mission, and he says that he did. Plo obviously being
he says
really
it appears that I did. Sorry,
it appears that I did. Yeah. Okay. So Plo, like, Ahsoka knew exactly what she was saying when she said Master Plo did it, because they're so connected. Because we also have to remember he's the one that brought her to the Jedi Temple, and they have like this connection in that she feels like he will cover for her. And it's kind of funny because he's like, I know what you were doing. I don't approve of it. I don't approve of it, but I'll go along with it.
It's like Lando and Tobias Beckett. I don't like it. I don't agree.
Yeah,
with it,
no, yeah,
but
that's
I'll
true.
accept it.
No, yeah. And Tarkin still shows mistrust in the Jedi. Even when Ahsoka refuses to tell him the message, and that they have two separate. I was told to give it directly to the Chancellor, and I was told to give it directly to the Jedi Council. Now, I don't think it's really discussed how it's deciphered, because I think one is taken to the Jedi Temple. Well, one is taken to the Jedi Council, and the other, and Tarkin's obviously taken to the Chancellor's office.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, what's interesting about that is like the Nexus route is to the Separatist homeworlds and the Republic homeworlds, and we never find out if Palpatine got the full set of coordinates. So it could be that, and like we have to think, well, Palpatine would have used this if he had known about the Nexus route before Tarkin and Evan Peel had gotten it. So maybe this was something made by a extinct species or something like that. But you have to think like, well, maybe Palpatine got his hands on the coordinates that would lead to Heart of the Republic, and maybe that's what Grievous used during the start of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, that's interesting.
They jumped right to Coruscant at the beginning of that film, so that it could be that. I could just be trying to connect things that
I love that.
There,
that's a good
but
theory.
It's interesting to think about.
Oh yeah, and that is going to be it for the entire arc. What were your guys' overall thoughts on the arc as a whole?
Yeah, I think it's an underrated arc. I mean, it's not maybe like, oh, my favorite, but I think it's really interesting. It has a lot of foreshadowing, and it has a lot of really like seeds that they're planting or kind of, encouraging. And it's interesting to see.
Brooke?
Yeah, the Citadel is a very appreciative arc.
I kind of feel the same way. I think I love the whole Domino Squad thing. So like that part, it definitely hits hard. And the rest of it can drag. But if you really pay attention to the dialogue and who's talking to who and what they're saying, it's definitely a lot more interesting.
No, yeah, absolutely. I feel like people are just like, oh man, this arc stinks, and I'm like, bro, you're not paying attention. Like, there's so much foreshadowing in it, and that's why I really, really enjoy it. But Aidan, your thoughts on the whole arc?
Yeah, like everyone's been saying, I think this is a highly unappreciated arc for like the story that it tells, and also, of course, for the aspect of all the foreshadowing that is a part of the arc, and not only for the original trilogy, but stuff further along, even in the Clone Wars. And even Revenge of the Sith. I think it's a really cool arc that nods to different time periods of Star Wars, which is something I can really appreciate.
No, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Luke. And it's kind of funny that you say that. Like, the reason why people say they don't like the Citadel, I think it's very similar to why they don't like the sequels. And your response is, dude, you're just not paying attention.
I mean, I feel like it's not fair, but it is fair at the same time. Like, if you, I don't know. The sequels and everything else are just whatever, I guess. But like, I enjoy them. I will defend them till the day I die. But like,
yeah,
I'm
they
just
ask
tired
why,
of
but it's
people
right
just
there in the
asking.
movie. So it's like, pay attention.
It's right there. Char, 3 interesting facts.
Yeah. So you guys ready for the 3 interesting facts about the Citadel?
Yep.
Sounds good.
All right. 3 interesting facts about a certain Clone Wars arc that you didn't know about until now. Part 18, the Citadel arc addiction. I was about to say addiction. I'll run it back. All right, Luke. Clip
Yep.
this
Go ahead.
one.
Yep.
3 interesting facts about a certain Clone Wars arc that you didn't know about until now. Part 18, the Citadel arc edition. Fact 1, a connection to an NBA legend. K2B4, the tactical droid alongside OC Sobek, aka Walken, was inspired by Los Angeles Laker great Kobe Bryant. Hence, his name consists of the letters KB for Kobe Bryant and 24, which were the numbers which was the number that he used during his later years of his career. Also, the color of the droid is purple and yellow. Fact 2, a callback to Jurassic Park. The cage that the Anubas are kept in was visually inspired by the Velociraptor cages from Jurassic Park. Fact 3, a change to Tarkin's character. In the script for the Citadel rescue episode, O.C. Sobek was to have been killed by Tarkin. Tarkin would have shot an unarmed Sobek in cold blood, causing the Jedi to further question his honor. And there you have it. Those are the 3 interesting facts about the Citadel arc.
Awesome.
right.
Episode rankings. Y'all know the drill. Everybody in the chat, tell us what you think. To the panel first. We'll go Brooke first. What would you rank it?
Like my entertainment level, I feel like is at a Jedi Knight, but talking through all of like the foreshadowing that it gives us would be closer to Jedi Master.
I would agree. Aidan?
Yeah, this arc is definitely going to be a Jedi Master for me, just for all the intricacies that make up the story and just the great dialogue we get between certain characters like Anakin and Tarkin, and like we've stated previously, all the foreshadowing. So this is definitely a Jedi Master for me.
Kir?
I'm gonna go Jedi Knight. Yeah, Brooke mentioned it lags at times. It's not one of my favorites, but there's some really good parts about it. It's not a bad episode, not a bad arc at all. It's good. Jedi Knight.
Char?
Yeah, I'm following Kir on this one. It's a Jedi Knight for me.
I'm going to go with Jedi Master because of all the foreshadowing, and obviously I love Tarkin, not as like somebody to look up to, but like I like his character as a villain. He's very creative and he's just like that interesting. Real quick, okay, so everybody here got Star Wars Celebration tickets. Me, Brooke, Aidan, and Char were all in the same Discord together getting those tickets. The level of intensity, it was like we were playing the Super Bowl at moments, like just trying to get in. All of us got 4-day passes, along with Kir, you got 4-day passes.
Yeah.
What are we looking forward to? What announcements do you think we will get? What panels do you think we will get? What do you think will bring the most buzz?
Well, I know the first Kenobi episode is the day before, right?
Yes.
So I'm expecting Kenobi panels, or at least emphasis. I feel like that's a big duh. Yeah, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
I've never been to Celebration before, so I don't really have a lot.
Neither have I. I've watched it.
I went for one day because in 2019, which was the last Celebration, is in Chicago, which is my hometown. So I went there for a day, and and to think about the gap between 2019 and now, like the Mandalorian wasn't even out yet. Like think about how much they'll have to cover within a 4-day span by missing 3 years. Like they have to cover Mando seasons 1 and 2. They have to cover the Bad Batch. They'll cover Book of Boba Fett. They have to cover episode 9. Like they have to cover all of this stuff. Like it's crazy if you think about it.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot upcoming. I would love to see more about the Acolyte. I don't think we will, but stuff that's out there that's like coming around.
It's gonna start filming here pretty soon, towards the beginning of Celebration, actually, or later in April, I think.
I'm guessing that we will be getting a trailer for Andor at Celebration.
Yes,
we better.
Yeah,
there's like nothing,
or at
else
least
for
a little
that
sneak
show
peek,
yet.
or maybe we'll finally get some news about Bad Batch season 2. So,
Brooke, what do you think we're gonna get at Celebration?
I don't think that they're gonna. I don't think that they're gonna be heavily onto the like Skywalker saga, because that's kind of in the past. I think.
Yes.
They had the trailer drop at 2019 Celebration. I think that they're as far as like guest appearances, I don't foresee any of the stars of the sequels being there, to do a panel. With how heavy they're pushing the 20th anniversary of Attack of the Clones, I would love to see an Attack of the Clones panel.
Yes.
Oh, that's for sure happening.
Yeah. I would love that, especially if Ewan and Hayden are already going to be there.
Tamora and Daniel.
Tamora.
Oh my gosh.
Get Natalie
awesome.
there. Natalie will be
Yes.
doing press for Love Thunder and
And
Lord
Thor,
Lord
yeah.
Love and
Thunder.
Thunder.
Yeah, at that point probably. So who knows if she's gonna be there or not.
The guy who
but
plays Gregor Typho. I don't know.
yeah.
You never know.
I think we'll definitely see that. If we don't get any Attack of the Clones Funko Pops, I will start a riot.
There will be. There will be. At Celebration
There better be.
2019, they had a line for all these special Funko Pops that literally stretched about maybe, I don't know,
I will
couple hundred
be
feet.
in all of those lines for sure.
And like each
Me too.
Funko Pop was like, I think like $60, and then like right after Celebration ended, they were already on Amazon reselling for 5 times the price. Like it was
Yeah.
insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I also know that they have like a whole. I mean, it's also like a regular con, so they've got different like vendors and whatnot, and they're just gonna have like a whole tattoo artist alley type thing.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I can
So
confirm.
Are we all getting tattoos? Did we all discuss this? I thought we were all
I have
getting...
a Star Wars tattoo. I'll
we
get
talked
another one.
about
That
it.
sounds
I'm
amazing.
getting.
I got one too, but it's
I've
like,
been thinking about getting
I think
another
we're
one
getting little
anyway.
ones.
I don't know how it works, if like they have a predetermined design list that you can pick from, like a flash tattoo or not, or if you can like. I'm assuming that it's something like that, or you have to have a pre-established design. They're not gonna like draw shit for you while you're there.
No,
That takes a lot of time. But I will 100% be getting a tattoo at Celebration, because why not?
What if I got a
Why
giant
not?
Empire logo on my shoulder?
So I think it was talked in the Discord server that we were all gonna get our initial, like one of our initials, tattooed somewhere on our body in Orbish. I don't know if that's still
literally
the...
what my
that's
tattoo
right.
is.
That's right.
I don't
totally
know if that's
recommend
still I don't know if that's still a thing. Like
I think we should.
Do it.
I-
Do it.
maybe. That's a maybe for me.
It can be big. It doesn't have to be.
That's true. I could put it on my ankle, but I heard the ankle hurts like a son of a bitch.
It's a tattoo. It's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Stop being a
Yeah.
baby.
Fine, Brooke. You're okay. Then you're gonna be the one holding my hand. Then,
Fine.
Aidan, what do you think we're gonna get from Celebration?
I'm hoping we hear something from Lucasfilm Games. It's kind of maybe we'll get something about like some follow up stuff, because at this point the Skywalker saga will have been released. I'm hoping we hear about our boy Cal Kestis.
That's what I want. I want a Fallen Order panel. I want a Fallen Order panel.
Fallen Order 2.
That would be so great.
Maybe a secret project they've been working on, something like that. But yeah, I hope Lucasfilm Games has a presence at
If
this year's Star Wars
we
Celebration.
get a first look at like a Fallen Order 2 like sequel
Trailer. I think that's when
That
they'll
seems
drop
possible. Yeah,
because they've been
probable.
talking about
Ballpark.
this since the first one came out, and that was what, 3 or 4 years ago already.
3 years.
3, yeah.
Damn, that I can't believe that's 3 years already. Char, what do you want from Celebration?
I just want my photo up with Tamara Morrison. That's all I want. That's all I want. If I can't have it, I'll literally I'll literally break everything.
I'm starting.
I'm kidding, but literally, I'll be very, very upset.
So I'm thinking if Ewan ends, if I'm able to get a photo op with Ewan, I will wear the Obi-Wan cosplay for that day and see what he thinks. That's the
It's
only
like,
way
hey,
I'm
look,
ever going to
there's
do
an
a photo
order.
op. Oh, look, there's an order. But
Sea Ultras.
yeah, sea otters.
Say about 6 or 7 of them.
Jesus. Aidan mentioned the Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga comes out in 3 weeks. Has everybody pre-ordered the game already?
I have not, but I will be.
Pre-ordered it.
In like
If not,
10 minutes.
go do it. And Brooke, that would be a fun stream to watch. Start from the
No,
very
we can
beginning. and
we
do
can
it
all
that
play
way.
together. We can literally all play together.
We could.
That's a funny story because
Multiplayer
I
online.
pre-ordered it on Amazon like how many years ago it was supposed to come out.
No,
and the
no,
date,
and that's another
the
thing. from-
date just kept changing. Like, oh, now it's saying, this, and it's like, oh, 2022. Oh, psych, it's gonna be 2023. Oh, wait, it's 2022.
Yeah, Aidan,
again.
that's funny that you mentioned that because the first time that the Lego Star Wars game was mentioned was at 2019 Celebration. Just to give you guys some context of like how much like Celebration has missed. Like it's insane.
No, yeah, and I think we're gonna get High Republic Phase.
That was April of 2019. Like
I
I
think
think early parts of 2019.
I think we're gonna get High Republic Phase 2 and a little bit of Phase 3 story of what they're planning.
That would be cool.
We'll get a panel of that. I think we're obviously going to get Lucasfilm Publishing for books. Obviously more High Republic. I wonder if they'll if we'll finally start seeing sequel era books after the Rise of Skywalker. I think that could be interesting. Obviously, we've got Shadows of the Sith with Lando. Hopefully, for the love of God, for Chris's sake, we get some information on the Lando show, because I need it for him, because
I know Chris wants a photo op with Billy Dee. He's gonna be there.
Yeah, that's true too. So, but guys, that is going to be it for the episode. I want to thank everybody for coming on. Brooke, Aidan, and Kir. We'll start with Kir. Where can the good people follow you?
TikTok and Instagram, Mandaklorian.
Aidan?
You can find me at Aidan Talk Star Wars Topics on TikTok and YouTube.
And Brooke, round it on out.
_ B Dazzler _ on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. B _ Dazzler on Twitch, and farfarawayfactory.com or farfarawayfactory on Etsy.
Go get the Kenobi merch. We've gotten a sneak peek of what she's bringing out for Kenobi, and let me tell you, you won't want to miss it.
I have it. I have my sweatshirt right here.
Oh yeah, I ordered one. Wait, no, I didn't. I didn't get the mullet one.
This is the Obi-Wan mullet fan club sweatshirt.
I love it.
Yes. Does it say hello there on the back of it too? Yes.
Oh, amazing.
Yes.
Excellent.
Go get that.
And use code FARAWAY10 for a discount.
There you go.
Chat, you see right there? That's free money in your pocket.
Get some money for Brooke to spend at Celebration. That's where the cause is. Char, where can we find you on the interwebs?
Or good people.
Where can the good people find you on the interwebs?
Thank you. That's cardinal word with me. Good people. You can find me here every Thursday night on the Podwans Podcast covering our Clone Wars rewatch, and you can find me on TikTok at the handle CharCharJ.
And like, comment, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We'd appreciate that. You can find us at the Podwans Podcast on TikTok, Podwans Pod on Instagram, and the Podwans Podcast on Twitter. Like I said again, thank you guys. Doors always welcome. You're always welcome to come on. Thank you to the chat. Thank you for hanging out. And for Light and for Life,
we are all the Republic.
And may the Force be with you.
Always. See you later, guys.
Bye.